What's up, guys? Charles and Team COG coming at you guys here with a combo tutorial video showcasing you guys the new Dark Flare Swordsman from DUAD with the Infernoble Knights. And these are going to be a lot of 2-card combos. I'm essentially going to go through and show you every 2-card combo with every name. So where the first one's going to be Dark Flare Swordsman with Renault, then we're going to go Dark Flare Swordsman plus Turpin, Oliver, Ogear, Ricardetto, in that order, and just show you the combo sequences. And then we'll probably show one with Flare Swordsman plus the Fighting Flame Swordsman. So in the situation, you open both of them and that way. But yeah, please remember, if you guys enjoy this type of content, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and if you want to help support the channel directly, hit that join button. Also, check out Dueling Guard. They literally dropped their S rank collection, so go ahead and check that out. Use code COG5 or use the link in the description below. Also, we finally cleared 10K subs, guys, so I'm going to be making a community post any day now, so go ahead and check that out and comment on it to get entered into the giveaway, so you guys are, signed up, get some free stuff. Thank you guys so much for getting here. So let's go ahead and jump on into the video, man. So, okay, the first thing we're going to do is start out with Dark Flare Swordsman. We're going to activate its effect in hand, sending the Fighting Flame Swordsman to special itself out. And then we'll go ahead and bait for Ash Blossom here by tributing the Dark Flare Swordsman. No Ash. Nice. Sweet. Summon out the Fighting Flame Swordsman. Effect on summon. You go ahead and grab yourself your Fighting Flame Dance. We'll go ahead and special summon out our Renault. Renault's effect will add back the Fighting Flame Swordsman. Synchro here into Angelica. We'll go Chainlink 1 Angelica, Chainlink 2 the Fighting Flame. Fighting Flame will send the Salamandra, and Angelica will add the Museum. Salamandra effect will chain on a separate chain to go ahead, will activate on a separate chain to add Salamandra with chain. So chain, 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 right? So this is our hand here. So let's see here. We'll go ahead and use Salamandra's effect to go ahead and attempt to target the Angelica. We will then chain Angelica's effect, sending the Ogear to then banish itself and summon out Roland. We'll then go ahead and activate our field spell over here. Pay 1200 to go ahead and search ourselves our Almas. So we're right here, right? We'll go ahead and use Ogear's effect to attempt to equip to the Roland. And then we'll go ahead and use Museum's effect to move the Roland up and Foolish Burial out Immortal Phoenix. So Immortal Phoenix of the Gearfried, this is where we are. We're going to go ahead and Synchro here into the Synchro Charles. And then we'll go ahead and equip the Almas to the Synchro Charles and then transform him up into his Super Saiyan form of Emperor Charles the Great. Emperor Charles the Great will be Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 will be Almas to add back the Gearfried here from our graveyard, and then equipping the Charles. So now Charles is now Charles. We'll use Gearfried's effect, banishing the Almas to summon itself out. We'll then go ahead and set our 2 trap cards, and then we'll proceed to the end phase, where Angelica will return, and here we are. So for those, to give you a tally of what we have a spell and trap negate, and a non-targeting destruction, non-targeting pop, essentially. So there's 2 forms of disruption. Immortal Phoenix Gearfried was a monster negate, 2 Book of Moons, and essentially 3 more cards in hand, so 4 cards in hand, along with potentially non-engine, and we did not use our normal summon. Do remember that. This entire combo was done without a normal summon. And something to go ahead and talk about real quick is we would have potentially a follow-up in the term of the Ultimate Flame Swordsman, touching base on the following turn to apply lethal damage if we could not get to it, because this will summon out the Fighting Flame Swordsman. This will be able to be equipped to something, but you can send it off or pop it or link something off, and then you're going to be able to banish this to summon this out to be able to poke for more damage. So yeah, so that's it for Flare Swordsman, Dark Flare Swordsman with Renault. So let's go ahead and jump on into Dark Flare Swordsmans with Ogear. Okay, guys, so here we go. We're starting out with Dark Flare Swordsman and Infernoble Knight Ogear as another 2-card combo. This combo sequence is a little bit different, but you still get to a lot of disruptions. And yeah, this sequence will utilize a normal summon, whereas like Renault doesn't. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into it here. We're going to activate the Dark Flare Swordsman to go ahead and send the Fighting Flame Dragon to go ahead and summon it out. We'll then start by normal summoning. You can do it in any order, but start by normal summoning Ogear to go ahead and send out the Turpin from deck to grave. Use the Dark Flare Swordsman to tribute itself for cost to go ahead and summon out the Fighting Flame Swordsman. Effective Fighting Flame Swordsman is going to add you the Swift Blade Storm Dance. You're going to then go ahead and overlay here for Battle Boxer Dempsey. Use Dempsey's effect to go ahead and search yourself out Renault. It's very important here that when we use Battle Boxer Dempsey, we detach the Fighting Flame Swordsman. Effective Fighting Flame Swordsman will send the Salamandra with Chain. Salamandra with Chain will add, or excuse me, Salamandra, the Fighting Flame Dragon will add the Salamandra with Chain. So we add the Salamandra with Chain. We then will go ahead and activate the Salamandra with Flying Dragon to equip to the Battle Boxer Dempsey. We'll then special summon out our Renault here to go ahead and attempt to target the Turpin to add it back to hand. It's important you do this here because you need to have an equipped in rotation to not use your Museum. So like you have to have a Noble Knight name to be able to do that. And if we summon Turpin from the graveyard, it banishes itself, right? So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to activate Turpin to special itself from the hand. And then we're going to go ahead and synchro here for the Queen of Noble Arms herself, Angelica. We don't get the chain block Angelica here, but if they had any hand traps, they probably already threw them somewhere in your sequence, because this is a little bit more convoluted till we get to Angelica. Effective Angelica to go ahead and add yourself the museum. We'll activate Turpin in the graveyard to target Angelica. We'll then chain Angelica's effect, sending the Malgus, and then banishing herself here to go ahead and summon out Roland. So now you could, we're not going to do it in this combo, but you could potentially shuffle back the 3 warriors in the sense of Flare and Turpin as well, because these names are not going to come up. Renault, whatever you want to, you have 3 targets to shuffle back and pick up another card, which kind of makes the combo sequence, you know, a 1-card combo in a way. But for the sake of simplicity and not putting in variables, we're not going to do that, because that's not what important. The draw is not important. It doesn't play into the combo unless, you know, you draw into like hand traps and stuff. So anyway, we're right here. We're going to go and activate the Malgus to equip to the Roland. Then we'll activate the field spell, Noble Arms Museum, pay 12 to search out our Almus. You do have a particularly different lines you could do. The issue, though, is that you don't want to use the add back because we don't really have anything worth adding back. But we're going to go and activate Almus here in the gray. Let's see. That's not a good place to put. There we go. We'll put these over here. Almus effect to go ahead and equip Durandal and destroy itself. We'll then go Durandal effect to grab ourselves our Oliver here and then destroy itself. And then you can use Museum's effect to special summon forward the Malgus. And then we go ahead and synchro here into Charles. You then can use Roland's effect to equip the Charles, and then go Super Saiyan Charles here into Charles the Great, right here, Charles the Great effect to equip Charles. You then can use Oliver's effect, sending the Salamander with the Fighting Dragon here to go ahead and summon itself out as level 1 tuner, and then we're able to link here into SP Little Knight. And this essentially is where the inboard is going to be wrapped up a little bit. Go ahead and set your 2 traps, and this is where you have your own plethora of choices. You have not used Ogear or Oliver yet, so you can essentially equip one of these to Charles. If you want to, you can equip them both to Charles. If you want to pick up the Durandal during the end phase as a follow-up, you can do that. But something I would like to go ahead and say is don't do that. Just go ahead and equip Ogear and Oliver. And the reason I say that is because this right here is going to make your Charles undestructible and untargetable, which is insane. But also, during the end phase, you're going to probably use Charles's effect to negate something, right? So that means one of these equips are going to be gone. So during the end phase of the opponent's turn, you can equip the Durandal then to go ahead and get the follow-up. You want to have a very strong Charles in this sense, because SP, though, is a very solid disruption. She is, like, little. We had to exhaust the Malgus to be able to move forward, so we couldn't equip Malgus to Little Knight to protect her by battle. So worst case scenario, they'll attempt to go battle phase and whack over the Little Knight, but you do have the Charles to be able to protect. And then, of course, Angelica returns for kind of some more follow-up. So the inboard is kind of layered in the sense we have a non-targetable, non-destructible Charles who can pop and is a spell and trap negate, so that's 2 disruptions. 3 disruptions with the Little Knight banish. 4 disruptions with a Book of Moon, 5 disruptions with the Book of Moon. We have 5 disruptions with pretty much a Towers-esque like Charles, who is currently going to be 4,500 attack. So yeah, there you go. And just, again, same thing as every combo. If you get these 2 cards in rotation, on the following turn 3, you're going to be able to get the Ultimate Flame Swordsman in rotation as well. So that's something that you can talk about. That's something to do take note that as long as these cards are in rotation, you can summon this guy out to be able to pop and then attack for a lot of damage too on the turn 3 scenario. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap it up and show you what happens if you do Dark Flare Knight or Dark Flare Swordsman with the Turpin. Okay, guys, so here we go. The next combo, Dark Flare Swordsman plus Infernoble Knight Turpin. So this is one of the weaker 2-card combos the deck has, but nonetheless, it is still a combo that you should probably be aware of. Again, the likelihood of you just always, like, you have so many searchers and so many things like that, like, you should always get to, like, the better combos. You always want to really do just Dark Flare. I think the best 2-card combos is Flare Swordsman plus access to Renault, Oliver, and or Ricardetto. But in this weird scenario, if you just open these 2 and you have just a handful of hand traps, you should know, like, this combo sequence anyway. And please remember, guys, comment down below if you see any sort of divergent or path change that you could potentially do. But this is not going to be as extravagant as the previous combos I've showed you, but again, nonetheless, it is going to be 3 disruptions. So anyway, we're going to start by special summoning out the Dark Flare Swordsman by sending the Fighting Flame Dragon from the extract to the graveyard. Normal summon your Turpin. Use the Dark Flare Swordsman to tribute itself to summon from the deck your Fighting Flame Swordsman. Effect on summon to go ahead and grab your Fighting Flame Dance, and then you could potentially do some overlaying stuff, you know, some crazy stuff, but I have found you just go ahead and link here into SP Little Knight. You could, now this combo, if you do have space is kind of tight, use the Ferocious Flame Swordsman. It is a link 2 as a throwaway, so you save your Little Knight, but in the case of this, we don't have a throwaway link 2, so this is our throwaway link 2. We're going to trigger the Fighting Flame Swordsman. Send the Salamandra. Salamandra's going to search our thing. And you could stop here, but I actually think it's better to go a little bit further. You go ahead and activate Salamandra to equip the Little Knight. Then you special summon out the Turpin from the graveyard. You then link off Turpin and the Salamandra into Promethean Princess. You then use Promethean to go ahead and reborn out. It doesn't matter, just a fire monster. And then we link up here into our amphibious swarm ship, Ambler Whale. And then you have your 2 Book of Moons and the Amphibious Amber Whale. And the cool thing about this is that you do kind of get a little bit of follow-up in the sense of that Amphibious can summon back the Promethean is able to summon itself. You're going to be able to have the Fire Monster for a Book of Moon, Flame Swords Dance. So you do technically still on 3 disruptions with kind of a follow-up in the sense of if the Promethean's able to stick, you can reborn back out your Fighting Flame Swordsman and play that way. So yeah, that's it for this. Again, not too like extravagant as the first 2 combos, but again, one of the weaker combos nonetheless. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump on into the Dark Flare Swordsman and Oliver. Okay guys, so here we go. Dark Flare Swordsman plus Infernoble Knight Oliver. So this is another 2-card combo. This is better than Turpin, but it's a little bit less as like extravagant, or less, the inboard's not as, it's like -1 disruption than what the first 2 combos showed. But this sequence is going to allow you to have Angelica protected from things like Imperm and stuff like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and start off with showing you guys the sequence. So we're going to go ahead and activate Dark Flare Swordsman, sending the Fighting Flame Dragon to summon itself out. You then go Flare Swordsman effect, tribute itself to go ahead and summon out the Fighting Flame Swordsman. So normally we'd search out the dance, right? Well, in this case, we're going to go ahead and just search out the Fighting Flame Sword, activate Sword to go ahead and grab ourselves another copy of the Fighting Flame Swordsman, or essentially a card of your choice. We're going to go ahead and activate Oliver here, pitching the Fighting Flame Sword, or the Dark Flare Swordsman to go ahead and summon itself. So many Flame swords, and all this stuff, it kind of gets me tongue-tied here. We go ahead and synchro here for Angelica. We go Chainlink 1 Angelica, Chainlink 2 the Fighting Flame Swordsman to go ahead and send the Salamandra to go ahead and search herself our museum. Salamandra triggers itself to go ahead and grab herself the Salamandra with Chain. Then, ooh, let's see what the next... Okay, I had to remember here. We go ahead and use the Oliver to equip to Angelica, not triggering Angelica's effect here, because this is what's going to allow us to be protected from a card like Imperm or Effect Veiler. We then use Salamandra's effect to attempt to equip, and this is where we chain Angelica, sending the Ogear, banishing itself, and summoning out Captain Roland. We'll then go and activate Museum. We'll go and activate Museum's effect to go ahead and, never mind, we'll go ahead and activate Ogear's effect to equip itself to the Museum. Then we'll use Museum's effect to move forward, triggering the Ogear to send the Turpin. We'll then use Museum's effect to go ahead and search out our Infernoble Arms Durandal, equip the Durandal, use Durandal's effect to add herself the Renault, destroying there. We go ahead and synchro here into Charles. We'll use Roland's effect to equip to Charles, and then, of course, Tale as Old as Time, link on up here into the Charles the Great, equipping here. We'll special summon out the Renault and use Renault's effect to go and add back any sort of follow-up. You can add back the Dark Flare Swordsman. You can add back anything you want, really. Go ahead and do this. And then we'll go ahead and use Turpin's effect to special summon itself, since we control a monster that's equipped from the graveyard. And then we'll just link off these guys here into SP Little Knight. So we'll set here. And this is essentially our hand, which I wish I just had a better place to show it. But anyway, we go on into the end phase. Angelica returns. Charles will then equip from the graveyard the Durandal and attach the... Oh, we must have misplaced it here. You can attach anything you want, really, but we'll attach Malgus here. So this is the end board, and what this does is you still end on 4 forms of disruption, Spell and Trap Negate, a Pop, Banish, and then a Book of Moon. But also you have the ability of Malgus to, whenever you use the Charles Negate something, to be able to draw a card, which is going to replenish your hand since you added a card back with Renault. So you started with 2 cards, you'll have 2 cards, you'll have full 5 cards in your hand. And yeah, it's not too terrible, especially since you're going to be, you have follow-up in the sense of Durandal and the Angelica if she gets targeted, or you can target her, everything like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into Dark Flare Swordsman plus Ricardetto. Okay guys, so here's the 2-card combo, the Dark Flare Swordsman plus Ricardetto. Take note, Ricardetto can be exchanged for like Effect Veiler or any level 1 tuner. It doesn't have to be it, but the cool thing about it is if it is Ricardetto, you have the extension to be able to banish it from the graveyard to be able to extend further. And after this, I'll show you a Ricardetto line to kind of close out the video. What you can do with, you know, Ricardetto plus Museum, essentially. So anyway, let's go ahead and start it here. Flare Swordsman, sending the Fighting Flame Dragon. Use the Flare Swordsman effect, tribute itself to summon out the Fighting Flame Swordsman. Effect to go ahead and search yourself your dance. Go ahead and normal summon your level 1 tuner, and then you just synchro here for your traditional Angelica. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, 2 to send, Angelica to add, effect of Salamandra, you're going to add yourself your Salamandra with Chain. We're going to go ahead and use Salamandra's effect, target Angelica, use Angelica's effect to go ahead and send Ogear. Had a little out of order there. Go ahead and banish this stuff here. It doesn't matter the order you do it, but just for the sake of fluidity, go ahead and activate Museum, pay 12 to search out Almas, effect of Ogear to equip, Museum effect to move forward, Ogear's effect to send here. Go ahead and synchro off here into Charles, equip the Almas to Charles, link up here into Charles the Great, Chainlink 1, Almas Chainlink 2. You're going to be able to go here and add back Gearfried. Go ahead and use Gearfried's effect, banishing the Almas to summon itself out. And then you just set your 2 spell and traps. Now, there is a little bit of divergence. You could potentially have searched out Renault. You could, pretty much I found that in most of these combos, anytime you can get to Gearfried, you could also potentially get to SP Little Knight. It just depends on what you want. I find that Gearfried's a little bit better than Little Knight because it just simply can't be whacked over that easy. But in phase, Angelic Cobra comes back, and then this is your inboard, again with 5 disruptions of 1, 2 off of Charles, 3 off of Gearfried's Monster Negate, and then 2 Book of Moons with the follow-up of the Ultimate Flame Swordsman. So to wrap up the video, I'm actually going to show you a combo that actually has nothing to do with the Dark Flare Swordsman just yet, and yeah, let's go ahead and wrap on into it. Okay guys, so here is a combo of Infernoble Ricardetto plus Noble Arms Museum. If you guys don't remember when we played the Boxer stuff, this was also this was another way into the Boxer, but I'm going to showcase you guys what you can do with just utilizing the Flame Swordsman stuff in this sequence. There's 2 pivotal lines. It just depends on what you really want to go and do. So we're going to first start out by activating the field spell, paying 12 to go ahead and search out our Durandal. Go ahead and normal out your Ricardetto, equip the Durandal, search out your Fighting Flame Swordsman, link this off here into your Relinquished Anima, and then go ahead and banish here to summon out your Flame Swordsman. So this is where the line can pivot. You just can go here to go ahead and add the Flame Sword Dance, or you can add the Fighting Flame Sword to get access to Dark Flare Swordsman to be able to get an additional body, depending on the board you want to end on, right? So if we just go with the Flame Sword Dance, we just will link these 2 off here for SP Little Knight. There we go, SP Little Knight. Triggering this right here to go ahead and send the Salamandra to go ahead and grab yourself the Salamandra Chain. So you have 3 disruptions right there. You have Little Knight plus Sword Dance and Sword with Chain. So I mean, that's not terrible. But I mean, like, Little Knight can just get battled over, and, you know, if you have other hand traps, you can maybe keep them at bay. But a cool thing is if Little Knight's able to survive, so most normally you just beam Little Knight out of there as quickly as possible, you do have follow-up to go into Promethean Princess and be able to potentially extend further that way. But I'll show you what you do if you end up adding the Fighting Flame Sword. Okay, guys, so if this is what happens if you add Fighting Flame Sword instead of the Dance. You go and activate the Fighting Flame Sword to go ahead and grab yourself your Dark Flare Swordsman. Go ahead and use Dark Flare Swordsman's effect to send the Fighting Flame Dragon to summon itself. And you can have different lines here. You could potentially overlay for Dempsey to go ahead and search for, like, Renault. You have definitely different, you know, like, different avenues, but instead of just spinning the wheels and wasting the resources, there's almost no use of using Dark Flare Swordsman effect. Just go ahead and link these guys up here into Hida, and if they throw an Ash at you, you take their Ash, you know, steal it, and then you use Dark Flare Swordsman sending the Salamandra to add the Chain. And then right here, you just link on up here into the Promethean Princess, use Promethean Princess to reborn a card, and then link up here into your Ambler. And then you set your Salamandra Chain. So you do have layered disruption here. It's not as, like, prevalent as the, you know, if you went to the SP line, but you do have the ability of Promethean to destroy, triggering the Ambler to bring back out the Hida, and then Hida has the ability, if it's destroyed, to add you something, along with Ambler being able to destroy a card as well. So you have 2 forms of disruption, along with a Book of Moon, which is essentially, you know, 3 forms. It's still the same amount, it just depends on the type of follow-up you want to have, essentially. But yeah, that's it for the combo video. Quick, an honorable mention before we go. Malgus plus the Fighting Dark Flare Swordsman, it doesn't do really much of anything, that's why I didn't show it. Essentially, you can just get to SP pass. Sadly, that's literally all that you can really do is SP pass with the 2 Book of Moons. So I felt like I totally forgot about him, but it's just the standard stuff. So, but if you guys enjoy this type of stuff, comment down below. Comment what you guys have been able to figure out using the Flame Swordsman stuff. And yeah, stay safe, stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG signing out.